Hi everyone, and thank you for joining this session. I'm very excited to be here today. I will try not to sell you anything but knowledge. And this is why I'm here. I'm from Sentrix, but I will not sell you my product. If you want to hear more about the product, we have a booth here. I will try to share with you the knowledge that I have since I was 12. I did hacking for fun and a bit for profit. And since then, I must say, things has been changed, but not so much. Okay, I will wait for...
We're just being asked to come
Yeah,
through.
go ahead. Thank you very much. Okay, so I think we're ready to roll. Let's see, so we don't have any more interruptions. So again, thank you very much for joining the session. I'm very excited to be here, and as I said, sorry for repeating that, but I'll not try to sell you my products. I'll try to sell you knowledge. Knowledge that I have since I was 12 when I did bit hacking for fun, for profit. And since then, I was not since when I was 12 in that profession as a professional, but I'm here more than a decade, almost 2 decades already. I'm old, but I have a white hair, so I try to share with you my knowledge about how the web developed. And if you compare it of how security developed, we will see a huge gap in between what needs to be done in terms of security and what's happening now. That's why we're seeing a lot of organizations, enterprises, small organizations that's being hacked every day, every year. My name is Nimrod Luria, and I'm the founder and CTO of Sentrix. And today we're going to talk about the DMZ specifically. We're going to speak about the architecture of the DMZ and the fact that the DMZ was good, that architecture was good for 1998. Today we need to have some change. The agenda for today, we're going to talk about a few minutes about the basic architecture of the DMZ, and we will talk why web attacks are still happening, why SQL injection is still the most common attack. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the latest Facebook attack. It was a CSRF factory. It is something that should be patched like at least a decade ago. The failure of web protection, I will talk specifically about why I think that there is a huge failure in terms of web protection. And I will introduce you the Cloud DMZ. Now, I believe that if you need to make a decision, whether to move to the cloud or not, you need to make sure that you're aware of the risk involved in that. So I will talk about I will finish with a bit about the risks and what you should do with those risks and how we solve those. When I'm saying we as a product, you can go and implement that with every technology or even do it by yourself. I will share with you our experience when we researched for solutions in our product. I will try to share with you what we did. And not necessarily you need to use our product in order to achieve that. There's many organizations that we met, large financial institutes that we met in the US, that did this architecture by themselves, and you can do it, and that's what I want to encourage you to do. If you want to hear more about the product, you can come to our booth and I explain about the product and what we do. I will try not to do it here. And then we'll have the Q&A and summary. Basic architecture, straightforward. We have the users going through the DMZ. Some organizations have 2 layers of DMZ. For instance, they have their public websites within the DMZ, or the marketing website within the DMZ, and more secure websites are within the secure DMZ, which in between they have appliances for security, firewalls, IPSs, IDSs, and so on. Then we have the LAN and the WAN, going to the application server and the database server. We will talk later on about defense in depth and why I do not believe in defense in depth, because the bottom line, when you want to get something from the database, you need to cross all the walls in between. So what kind of defense with depth we have, and we will discuss that later on. Let's take a look on virtual DMZ. You know, I heard a session of Bruce Schneier about when the cloud was started, and it was brilliant. He said, the cloud or the standard data center, it's the same old thing. It's, if you ask, should I need to trust the vendor of the cloud? So it's the same question, do you want to trust the provider of your operation system or your web server? It's the same. And there's a funny joke they're talking about how a CIO move into the cloud very fast. You just take the sign of the data center and replace it with the cloud, and that's it. Okay? So this is like a virtual DMZ. I remember that I was speaking at one of Microsoft events that we were showing that amazing principle, amazing idea that you can put as many servers as you want. Now, I just want to make sure that when we're talking about the virtual DMZ, we are not talking just about virtual machines. We're not talking about the fact that now you're not working on appliances, but you're working on virtual machines, but we're talking about the fact that if you have the internet and you have a lot of servers in that internet zone, you can add as many servers you want. You can use the elastic growth of the cloud, even if it's a private cloud or a public or a private cloud. So this is more complex architecture that you can build a private cloud within that, you can build a public cloud, or whatever you can use any other public cloud providers such as Amazon, Azure, and IBM. Who is using the cloud right now? In his organization, who is using the cloud? Raise your hand just to make sure you see it. Okay. So when I'm talking about the cloud, we get a lot of feedback about I don't want to use the cloud because of compliance issues, because of the risk, because of lack of control. But the bottom line is that many organizations are using the cloud already. Who is using Salesforce in his organization? Okay, Dropbox. Nobody. Oh my God. Okay. So what we can see here that a lot of organizations, financial institutes, and many others using Dropbox, Salesforce, Amazon Web Services for storage, or Windows Azure, SharePoint Online, Office Online, and we are seeing that many organizations, even though that their own data center is not moved to the cloud, they start to use some kind of cloud services. And now we're asking ourselves, okay, what kind of usage we have on that? So 35% using email, such as Office Online and those kind. 42% using that for sales and marketing. Imagine that now you need to solve an issue. You have the marketing campaign that want to be launched in a week from now. And if you are a CISO or you need to do security consulting from that website, you need to do it very quickly. So the problem is that many organizations do not want to take that risk, so they say, you know what, I will take a third-party company, I will take the cloud as a host environment, and I will blame them if something happened, but I need to put that marketing website up and running in a few days. And for large organizations, it's really hard to achieve. So intellectual property, we're seeing that in the cloud, and by the way, this data is from the CSA, Cloud Security Alliance. It's not something that I wrote by myself. You can go to Cloud Security Alliance, and they just released a report, if I'm not wrong, a month ago. Very interesting one. 31% customer data. Now, we're seeing that the financial institutes are getting there, but more slowly. More slowly. What I'm going to share with you today is the ability to use the cloud but mitigate the risk. We can use the cloud for the things that we want, like for the elasticity, the growth, the amount of data that you can save there, but we want to avoid the risk in the cloud, so this is something I will share with you today. This is another graph that's talking about percentage. So we see like between 10 and 25% of applications that are cloud-based within the organizations. We are seeing a transition from developing an in-house development to a cloud development. We're seeing here, okay, the usage for the cloud is more on apps rather than data and everything. We're seeing that sensitive content in the cloud is much more between 26 and 50%. And this is all the categories that you have here. You can go and see whatever other organization use the cloud. I recommend to go and read the Cloud Security Alliance report. Now, the question is why attacks are so painful and easy to execute. And this is something that I want to share with you. This is a question that I'm asking myself. I'm teaching web security, as I said, more than a decade. I was talking about SQL injection when I was very young with the long hair. But still, SQL injection is one of the most common attacks. So you're asking yourself, how come? How is it happening? Because we know, we are all aware of mutation of SQL injections. So the question is, why is it happening? The bottom line is that the zero-day marketplace become very accessible. Everyone can buy a zero-day, and the beauty is you can choose the coin. How to buy an exploit. The beauty in that they have here, gold. You can buy gold. You can earn gold. If you develop a zero-day by yourself, you earn a lot of gold. You can buy gold with a Bitcoin. And the bottom line, I remember that at the time, if you want to buy a zero-day exploit, you need like $50K to buy an average exploit. Right now, take a look on the prices. Internet Explorer 11 remote code execution, 5,000 gold. One gold coin equals to $1. For $5,000, I can break to as many users as I want. This is pretty old one, but take a look on those for the latest months. It's not so expensive for me. So if I am an organization that want to gain an access to users, to data centers, to whatever, I can buy those kind of exploit. And the beauty in that, and this is something I want to share with you, take a look. It is really hard to read what's written here, but this is a very specific web apps exploits. And what you can see here is that this category is full with vulnerabilities, which was found in web projects and web applications. This is the place that you can find the most vulnerabilities. And what the beauty in that? How much it costs? How much gold do I need to mine? So now, if I want to execute an attack on WordPress, that lately they are the rock star of the vulnerabilities. I believe that you heard about the plugins vulnerabilities, and I will share with you a plugin vulnerability that we had on our own website. Now, because what we did, we didn't need to go and run after patching those systems. I will share with you how we did it. WordPress, Joomla, code forums. Everything is here. You can download it for free, execute a zero-day. I will show you, if you remember Soak, I can share with you how it works and what happened there. And it's really funny to see how it works. Who is using a WAF? Who is using a WAF? Don't be ashamed, come on, it's okay. Okay? The WAF itself, the problem with the WAF, that if you just want to protect a very simple website, you need to define hundreds or even thousands of rules. Because in a way of thinking of blacklisting, in a way of thinking that I will be aware of any kind of payload that might be dangerous and I will block it, this falls. You cannot handle that. So I see in a lot of organizations, government, large enterprises, that dealing with list of logs and alerts and rules that it's really hard to manage. And if you think about who needs to manage those rules, can I take just a student to do that for me? No, I cannot. I need an expert. I need someone that knows what's going to be the next vector attack. I want someone that I can trust because I depend on this guy on all of my web systems. But this guy must be an expert, and this guy don't want to sit in front of logs and computer all day and define those rules. So it's really hard to find the 10 people that really working 100% of the focus and the time and effort on defining those rules. Now the problem is that if you missed only one rule, you're gone. I remember when I was working for the government, I was at the Microsoft ACE team, and we worked with the governments all over the world to help them to deploy SharePoint in a secure way. I worked for 6 months only to secure SharePoint, and while I'm saying secure, is not doing it. It's just giving the paper what needs to be done in order to secure SharePoint. It's the same, no matter if it's SharePoint, Joomla, Vignette, or whatever. So you ask yourself, what does it fail? Why web protection fails? So we saw endless race after patches, updates, and 0 days. If now you just want a very simple website, you have a mid-sized company, you don't need a whole platform, you just want WordPress. It's a huge risk now. How can I use WordPress when I saw the slide before that someone can buy for free, download it, and exploit my system? Okay, so what am I going to do? And this is the problem with the current technologies. With the current approach, forget the technology, the approach that I will always run after the patches. Something else needs to be done, and I will share it with you. I showed this slide, I think, like more than 12 years ago. When I was at Microsoft, this document is for Microsoft. And until today, when people are asking, okay, how should I protect my system? So we will explain that the threads and countermeasures are all over your network. The holistic approach is securing your network, your host, and your application. And come on, it's very easy to do. Go one by one and check for input validation, authentication, authorization, blah, 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 and everything. It's very hard to achieve. Now when I ask you, okay, where to do it, with today's approach, you need not to go and cover 100% of your code, 100% of your backend servers, and so on and so forth. What we try to do and learn is how can I avoid those things as much as I can. I'm not saying, just to be clear, I'm not saying now that with the approach that I'm going to show with you, you don't need to do code reviews or patches or the hardening. But you will be able to do it when you're much more focused on what's really important. I remember when I was working at Microsoft, I did also project internally. And what I like at Microsoft, there's a lot of things to say about them, but it's one of the most attacked organizations in the world. I saw, I think, almost any possible attack. And the bottom line that we learned a lot about what to do in those terms. And it's working. You need, but when we did the security for the product, first of all, we go over all the components and we did some kind of a threat model to make sure that we understand what are the most risky components that I need to secure. You know, the weakest point, right? The security fails where the weakest point is, so you need to start to handle the weakest point. So that's what we try to do here, but it's a lot of work to do. You need a team to do it for you, and there's no way always to run after the patches. Now, you know, they took this approach, they took it from the battlefield, right? If you have a castle, and you want to protect it, so you have the moat, you have the walls, you have the guards, you have inner walls, you have the watchtower, and if you're more strict about security and you're afraid, and you're more in a panic mode, so you can do also that. You can build huge castle. You can build everything that you want in that castle. You can bring lions, you can bring whatever you want to protect that. But the bottom line is, if you want to allow someone to enter your castle, you need to allow him to bypass everything, right?
So the lions are good this, because you don't need to have many of those. You may have just one, and he will be in the right place in the right time to bite you in the eye. Right?
And I will explain about the defender dilemma and the advantage of the attacker. That's the same thing that, yeah, that's totally true. Now, so this is defense in depth, right? When I was at Microsoft, Bill Gates told us, hey, go and speak about defense in depth. Michael Howard wrote a book like this about secure coding and defense in depth. But if you want to enter to somewhere, you need to bypass everything. Yeah, you do a security check for me. When I came here, do you see the game that we put here with the targets? You saw the game? So we go through the airport, we need to bring in arrows. And the first we bring in arrows. And that means, you know what, you're going to a conference? Okay, I will allow you to bypass the defense in depth that we have because you need to go there, you have a conference voucher. Okay, you know what, get in. But I might be a Trojan horse, right? Like in the old days of the castles. So defense in depth is dead. What next? If you compare it to IT, so we have our critical assets. We had in the past intrusion detection. Hey, you've been hacked. Thank you very much. I'm so happy to hear it. Thank you. So they move into intrusion prevention. 50% that will block everything. It's not good enough, right? That's why we see many organizations under attack. So we have firewalls, we have network security, we have the physical security. If you did CISSP, you should answer the question, what the height of the fence, right? You need to know it. And that's why you were talking about. This is how it looks like when we're trying to defend our networks. We're trying to defend our web assets. So the attack's adventures and the defense dilemma. What is it? As a defender, look at this crazy guy, poor guy. He needs to defend all points. You know, in the past, if you want massive computing power, you need hundreds of thousands of dollars and some organization to back you up with that money. Today, you can get it either for free if you have enough time, to trick everyone and register different names, different countries, and so on and so forth, and get enough computing power. Oh, you know what? You can be generous and spend $100. $100 and I can execute DDoS attack on every web server that you would like. The computing power is so cheap now, and the defenders must defend all points, and that's the problem. Attacker can fire at will. If I shoot, I shoot. If not, I not. And the thing is that we will not avoid attacks, right? It will continue to grow. We see all the social networks that it's really easy. Hey, you know what? Let's bring a campaign. I want to hack to that country, or it was, I don't know, every day they have different reasons to attack. With the social network, it's really easy to execute that. And still, now the defender needs to stand and say, okay, bring it on. I will defend against it. So we need a different approach for different solutions. Let's see what's happening in the news. And that, I'm always doing that. The day before the presentation, I'm going to the sources, public sources, and I'm putting a quote from a few days ago. Some of them from a few days ago, and some of them more than that. Oklahoma City website, he done 2 DDoS attacks. One is not enough, they want 2 DDoS attacks. Anonymous to BBC, bring back Carlos threat DDoS attack. If you don't pay me my money. Okay, WordPress, always there. 1.3 million sites vulnerable. What is he finding in that thing? And I put it not for nothing. There's very specific information there that we should notice. You know that, right? That it's the attack simulation that you see in real time. It's our network map. They're mapping the attacks all over the world now. The thing that you see here, what is the source and destination? USA. Born in the USA, attacked in the USA. The attackers now gaining access to botnets all over the world. In Israel, the authority that in charge all over the banks in terms of compliance, they told them, in terms of DDoS, or in terms of a risk of an attack on Israeli major website, they asked them, they told them, not asked them, they told them to block an access to all the major banks in Israel, to block access from all over the world. So if I'm in my office in the US, no, I cannot check my balance. Why? Because if I will do that, I probably open the US, right, to attacks. If I'm in China, I cannot check my balance. I believe that blocking DDoS, or blocking regions, or blocking IPs, it's not necessary. It's like in the airport. If I cannot bring a toy to my child, the terror wins. If I cannot access my account from the US, the terror wins. It's no matter if it's successful DDoS at the back end of the bank. If I cannot access that service, it's a DDoS. It's a loss for the bank. So we are seeing that the attackers has a lot of botnets within the countries. So blocking in IPs, even though that you do it, a legitimate user like me will suffer from that. But the attacker, he has a whole botnet network within the country. So he can bypass the IP blocking very easily. That's from yesterday. There's a lot of false positives here. Okay, it's not like a source that we can really trust. You need to check each and every one of them. But this is zone-h.org. This is the Hall of Fame for defacements. Everyone that did a successful defacement automatically go to that website and publish that. It's also HackDBs. There's a lot of websites like this. And I just filtered yesterday night for the UK, co.uk. And what you can see here, that many websites were under attack. And let's say we have like 20 here. That's from yesterday, right? Or the day before. It's happening every day. Every day. So why it's happening? Again, this is a list that I wrote. This is something that I want to share with you with my experience. So when I see the involvement, I remember I had a company in 1998, actually. It's not for nothing that we put 1998. I had a company for web development. And I remember that it was very easy to develop a website. HTML, JavaScript, and that's it. I even wrote a book about JavaScript because that's the only thing that you need to know, HTML and JavaScript. And suddenly we have HTML5, Ajax, JSON. I will not go too much in details on that, but what happened with the new Web 2.0 technologies is that now, if you have a very simple web page that in the past had like few resources on that page, now each and every page contains hundreds of resources that come in from different locations. So it's really hard for the IT, for the security staff to protect it because of the HTML5 sockets. Imagine, when you're browsing to a website, you might be an enabler for DDoS attack. Why? Because with HTML5, it could be a connection from your client network, from your client machine, to the attacker without even going to the backend. That's the problem with HTML5 sockets, for instance. Mobile protocols. It's really hard to protect the mobile. Just yesterday it was an announcement that Imperva bought Lacuna Security, which is a mobile security company that is only with that. But not everyone can buy a product for each and everything. So there's a problem with the mobile protocols that standard WAFs and standard mitigation services cannot handle those mobile and very complex protocols. Ajax, JSON, REST. I just showed a vulnerability on REST. You know those mortgage calculators, for instance? Now you see a web page, and you want to check your mortgage and the return rate and everything. So you just slide a bar to see the amount and everything. And every time that you slide it, automatically it will go to the backend, calculate that again, and give you the result back. And this is all done by REST. And I showed that REST can expose a lot of vulnerabilities. You can go to our website and read about a post that I wrote about the REST weaknesses, the REST protocol itself. Specifically, only that word here puts you in a huge risk. And all of you need to go, if you're in charge of your security of your web assets, you need to go and learn REST and learn the vulnerability and try to protect it. Legacy systems, how to cover. There's a system that the people who developed that, or they quit or they died. There's some systems that are there like for decades, and it's really hard to patch them. Endless and impossible patching. I remember that I worked for one of the electricity companies. I don't want to tell the country, and I found a lot of vulnerabilities in the core system that in charge of, the power supply that thing. And told them, hey guys, it's all full with 0 days, we need to patch it. So we contacted the company that put that very expensive service, and they told them, you know what, we cannot patch it. because it's a very old system that works with mechanics. Actually, it's open, switch, and close, and you say, you know what, you cannot patch it, but if you want, for around $25 million, we will patch it because we need to reinstall it and do everything from the beginning. So it's almost impossible to patch those systems. The problem is that those systems, you remember the defensive depth that we talked about? Those systems are exposed in some way. The error is human. We cannot execute perfectly for a long time. Yeah, we can do it for 10 minutes if you stand quiet and do nothing, so we will be perfect. But it's really hard to handle massive amount of applications and protocols and everything and without an error. The WAF and firewall misconfiguration leads to attacks. If you forgot something, you forgot the rule, it leads to an attack. I remember that one of the projects I did, we were working so hard to put a very, very narrow rules and attack surface, and I think we did an amazing job. And what happened after that is that the developer came, they publish a new version of that web system, and then we need to go and do everything from the beginning. And believe me, there's no way that you remember each and every tweak that you did, even that you have the guidelines. Education, as I said, you need to learn what the attackers know, and more than that, you need to learn what all the attackers know together. Focus on what's important. I saw many DDoS attacks, and the problem with DDoS attacks, and we proved that in Interop, like in 2009, me and my partner, we go to Interop and we showed them how we can generate a massive amount of traffic and in between inject a very specific targeted attack to grab some information from that network. It's really hard today to focus on what's important, because if you go to the log of the IPSs and IDSs, in a DDoS you see hundreds of thousands of millions of requests. And the problem is that you ignore them. You don't know what is important, what is not. Your CPU is 99%, it's really hard to manage that, and this is a real problem. Want to see a demo? Okay. Because WordPress is a rock star, we do that. It's a very simple demo as a start, and I have another demo that's a bit more complex, and I will share it with you. The architecture that I'm having here for the demo is I have a virtual machine full of exploits. This is I call it the garbage collector. And I have my own machine. My own machine is the secure one, okay? And the machine with the virtual machine is the machine that is vulnerable to attack. So let's take a look. Let me just open that and share it with you. Oh, brilliant. Now it will be very hard for me to do it. Let me try to duplicate the screen. I'm sorry for that. One second. All right, perfect.
So this is secure machine, right?
No, this is the vulnerable machine. What I'm doing, and I think it's good to practice for you also, guys, is if you want to test something, no, it's not showing that. No, I'm sorry. Let me go back to what I did. Oh my God. It reversed that now. I'm sorry, just a second. All right. No, I cannot do anything. Okay, I'll go back to extend, and I will just sit here. Sorry for that. It's the problem is that I have a server here, so it's an issue with drivers of Windows 2012, and probably that's happening there. Okay, so let's see the demo.
Come on.
Okay. So what I'm going to share with you. What I'm going to share with you is the SoakSoak vulnerability, and this website that you're seeing here is a website that we developed in order to prove some points. Oh my God. Is there anything to do with this? Never mind. I can sing in between. Thank you.
Now it comes out, you will know that the computer.
Thank you very much. Okay, so what you can see here, this is the vulnerable website, which is full of vulnerabilities. Okay, so for instance, if I go here and do that, you see that I can bypass the login. This is a SQL injection, very simple one, and you will see, welcome, 1 second. Oh, I have Fiddler running. Wow, it's really hard to manage this way. I did try to sit back here, now we can be secure. Okay, thank you. Oh my God. What's going on? I cannot see the machine here. Guys, I'm very sorry for that. Just give me a second. I don't know what happened. All right. It's because of the resolution of the screen. I have, oh my God. So you know what? What I will do is I'll just prepare that here and I will show it to you in 1 second. So what I will do here, I just grab the browser with the same website. I will show it to you in a second. And I will access a URL that is exposed. You know what? Oh my God. Okay. It will be very hard for me to show you that. You know what? Let me continue. I'm very sorry for that. What I want to show you, I don't want to waste too much time on that. What I want to show you is that there's WordPress vulnerability with something wrong with the screen. I don't know what happened.
You try duplicating it just straight off
Try to duplicate that again.
rather than extending.
Okay, I can manage with that. All right. All right, so this is the vulnerable platform, which here I have the attack this side. Okay. And this website is full of vulnerabilities. Now, I want to show you more on that. We have our own website. Okay, this is our own website. Now, we're running on WordPress. I didn't patch that. Full of vulnerabilities and contain the soak exploit. The bottom line is that if I'll go here and try to run /wp-admin, you will see that I will be able to access the admin interface. Now, when I go to that and all right. When I go to that and put that payload, this one. Okay, let me use it from the beginning. Okay, Sentrix.com/ wp.admin. 1 sec. Where is it? Let me take the payload. I'm so sorry. I got a bit confused because of the problem that I had before. Okay, so if I go that and put this one, okay, what you can see here, that on our own web server, that it's now going to the origin web server, right? It's not something that you're all exposed to. But here what you can see is that wp-admin Ajax, admin Ajax. Now, that vulnerability happened because of the rev slider. Now, the beauty in that we just tried rev slider. We have not really used that. We just try it. And the problem is that even that you install it, uninstall it, it will leave this URL exposed. So you see that the admin interface is exposed. And more than that, you know what is it? Path traversal, right? So the web server itself exposed to path traversal. Now, if I was in the real world, I would need to patch that. So if I go here, take a look what happened. And please do not take any picture of this. I'm going to share with you that admin Ajax. That admin Ajax contains a real data from our server. It's crazy. Now, when I will go to my secure machine and try to execute the same attack, the same payload, it will not execute it.
So you say your machine is secure because you cannot execute that particular payload, or you have some other means?
Some other that I will discuss in a minute. Now, in the traditional world, if you want to protect it, what do you need to do? Oh, new vulnerability in WordPress. Let's patch it immediately. Close the wp-admin, close the path traversal, uninstall the rev slider. But it's happening all the time. So the next day you have a new vulnerability, you need to go to patch it, and it's endless race that I talked before. And I will share with you what we are doing differently. Okay, I have a demo at the end of the session, so everything will go smoothly right now until the end. Thank you for your patience, by the way. Thank you very much. Okay, so I will continue. Okay, so let's talk now about the Cloud DMZ and what you can do to try to avoid those kind of vulnerabilities. So first of all, I want to talk to you about the deployment, about the architecture of the Cloud DMZ that we're talking about. So you have the Cloud DMZ that's contained the replica grid and the context analyzer. I want to explain you what is it and what you can do without having Sentrix do it for you. Imagine that you have a marketing website built on WordPress. Believe me, you don't need WordPress for that. You can develop it with WordPress on your staging environment or pre-production environment. Before you publish that, what you can do, you can very easily build a scraper or buy one or download one for free and ask him to grab all the information, flash into a static file, and then put it on what we call the replica grid. I was clear enough? I know we are after lunch, it's hard after a hard demo that got a bit exhausted, but it's very important for you to understand this architecture. Instead of exposing WordPress, expose the response of WordPress. If you have a marketing website, you don't need to expose WordPress servers. Have a very simple web servers that know to get a request, find a response, put a response to the user. It's really easy to manage. It's really easy to deploy. I don't want to mention customers' name, but as I said, customers in the US that did that same architecture by themselves. You don't need to buy a product to do that for simple websites, right? If it's a more complex website, so it's really hard to do it every day or every hour that you want to update data. But the concept is, do not expose the WordPress itself. Expose the legitimate responses. Put them in storage in the cloud. Put a web server in the cloud. Harden that web server. Make one time a profile for a very hardened web server without any URLs that you want to expose. No WordPress installed on it. Only a listener that get a request, look for the response that you stole before, and flash the response. So for instance, if you have only a marketing website, the exposure would be 0. Instead of trying to access for homepage or for static resources, access all the time to the backend, flash it out. Send it out to the cloud. Let the user connect the cloud and get the data. If you want to do a file download, put the files in the cloud. let your developers link those downloads to cloud replicas. In that case, most of the attack will go to the cloud. In that case, if you flatten the website, if you did it, the attacks will be out there. I remember before our product was ready, we had a large attacks on one of the municipalities in Israel. The problem was that every time we patched it, we were kind of targeted attack. Every time we patched it, the attackers come and they faced that website again and again and again and again. And the CIO and the CISO and the CEO, everyone was involved. We were like, I don't know, almost 20 consultants, and do this and do that, and they hacked again and again and again. And I said, guys, that's it. We need to make a decision, and I'm willing to make one. And what we did in the past, we take down the whole DMZ, and we put people to replicate that with those tools to the cloud. The problem with that approach that it's good for static web pages. If you want to support dynamic web pages, if you want to support pages that will update all the time and have backend resources, you need to develop something that is a bit more complex to support that. Any questions on that? Okay, let's continue. Okay, so how does it work? The user can go to what we call the mitigation services. You can implement it by yourself. You can download ModSec for free. Mod Security is a web application firewall, open source that, by the way, it's better from other companies that are commercial. I don't want to say names, but there's a survey that scores the results of, all the web application firewall, and it's really a good one. It is for free. So you can do the blacklist, you can do the whitelist, and you can do it for free, and you can do it by yourself. The replica grid that we discussed, and the engine that always will push the data to the replica grid. So therefore, you will not have an access to the backend. That's how you will have a continuous updates. The internet is moving to context aware. A few months ago, Google just announced that they stopped to do indexing as they did before. Indexing is just going to search for text, tag it, and publish it when you search for that keyword. They move to execution, to context, to execute a script, to understand what the script should do. And that's how Google now be able to give you much more results, accurate results on what's happening. They can actually cache almost the whole website. So the internet is moving to context aware, to understand what you're going to execute and not just keeping a static file. So what we're doing in that asset, we will do a website pre-scanning to execute any script. We will replicate that with the script. Why it's important to execute the script? Because sometimes a URL will be extracted from execution of a script, that you are not aware of that URL if you will not execute that script. That's why Google moved that, and we have, by the way, an article in our blog, if you want to read more about it, in our blog, how Google now is better for security because of that. And how we use the context analyzer, how we use that in order to serve much more security. And context-aware protection. Now, what Palo Alto did is an amazing thing. Now, if I want to block Facebook, I don't need now to understand all the ports and protocols. I just go to Palo Alto and block Facebook. The same for your own mitigation services you want to develop once. There's no more bunch of requests that nobody will understand. You need to wrap it up, understand what is the login, and prove or allow only that. This is the context-aware protection. So, the problem with blacklisting and the current technology that exists, that at the first phase, you need to deploy an insecure website. Insecure website. It's because of the way that they are working. Oh my God, no way. There's no other exit? Now they start to do it?
It's just us, sorry.
Oh my God. No, I hit the cloud. Okay, I'll be very quick. So, the Cloud DMZ deployment, with that deployment, you'll be secure from day one. You don't need to upload something that's vulnerable and not legitimate or not. If you replicate that in a secure way, you flatten everything that you can, allow only those requests that you're aware of, login, search, transaction, whatever, you will be secure in the first day that you will deploy it. It's a better security. As we said, you have the Cloud DMZ, you have the replica, you have the whitelist, the attackers will go there. Now the thing is that, and attackers sometimes don't really care what the target is, they want the win. So if they try to attack you, and they say that, okay, it's hard for me because I understand here that it is WordPress, but when I'm trying to execute a WordPress vulnerability tools, I get nothing. Why? Because it's only replica. It looks like WordPress, it acts like WordPress, but the opposite to the joke, it's not WordPress. Okay? This is how DDoS attack looks like currently. You need now to get everything and to hide them everything that you can. And this is a DDoS with the Cloud DMZ. You spread the content all over the clouds. It's now very cheap to do it. The attacker all the time will go to different locations. That's how the Cloud DMZ will protect you, and the origin server will be much more free to do things by themselves. Okay, are you ready for more complex demo? Okay, and I will finish with that. So what I'm going to do with you is on-premise versus cloud on a web shell. A web shell is a way to upload a backdoor to a web server because you allow me to upload files. And I'm a nice guy. I like to upload files. And what I will do, and I will show you how I'm doing that, I will change the content type from octet stream. Do you know? Octet stream is like an ASPX file, it's execution file, and the developers allowed me only image and JPEG. So the problem here that when they did, the developer did the checking, they said, okay, you know what, I will check the MIME type. Now write it for yourself to go and ask your developer how they validate the files when you upload a CV or file or whatever. The most common answer would be, oh yeah, of course, we're checking for MIME type. I saw the guys here from Encase. Go talk to them about how to recognize the file, what the file is. Sometimes you see a PPT file, but it's not a PPT, it's an execution. There's many tools to understand what the files are. So let me show you the demo. I hope it will be much more easier for me with the screens. So what I want to do, again, I have the attack machine. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to attack this side. And with that attack this side, I have to ask a question. The beauty in that is sometimes I have much more complex questions, so I need to attach file to ask a question. So what I will do here, I just type a question, choose a file, and I have here hang on, by mistake. I have here, you see, backdoor tool. Okay, this tool is a web interface that's creating files, directories, you can put the content. It's a page that you can edit files, whatever you want. So when I try to upload it and submit the question, okay, with that file, you'll see in a minute that I will be blocked because they will allow only JPEG, okay, and PDF files. But the problem is that they checked only for the MIME type. A MIME type is something that is really easy to bypass. Take a look. Do you see that? Now, when I try to inject that, let's do this. I run Fiddler, and Fiddler is a proxy debugger. I can stop the request, change them, and then rerun the request again. I will do this, and to save some time, I take this one. Okay, application stream, this is what I'm looking for because this is recognized that I'm trying to load a file that is not a JPEG. I will put a breakpoint, and then every request that I will run will be stopped. So what I will do, I will upload the file again. What will happen? It will be stopped here, and then when I will try to go, this is the inspector that I see everything, and this is the data, okay? Now, when I will search for the architect, can you see it? Yeah, 1 minute. Can you see it? So this says that this is a PDF, so I will not allow to upload it. I need to do it very quickly because I have a session of the web server that I need to handle so it will not drop. So I'll try to do it quickly. And then instead of content type architect stream, I'll replace that in architect type, okay, image JPEG and run to completion. When you go to the website, now you will see it's still running, you see? It's still running. Ta-da! Okay, nice. So you have a file. What can I do with that? Now access that file. Take a look. Now if oh sorry, that's still here. Now if I go to attack this site / attachments, okay, attachments / backdoor.aspx. Suddenly you will see a file. Oh, sorry. Okay, take a look. Now when I run it again, I just refresh the page, and I will be able to access the backdoor. And with that way, an attacker is using, it will take some time, with that way, attacker using those websites in order to upload the file and then upload the backdoor. And this is, let me try to access that from a different machine. 1 second. I will show you that. Take a look. Full screen. Okay, I'll do that. Attack this side. Okay, and backdoor tool. Take a look. I will have the backdoor ready for me to use. It will take a second. Or not? It's not my delay. Okay, so the bottom line is that this tool, I don't want to waste too much time for you guys, this tool will show you actually an ability to upload the file, to change the file, to change the content. This is the secure file. I'm done. This is the secure file. This is the backdoor, and this is actually how you can access that. I'm very sorry for the problem with the screen. And the bottom line is, guys, you can actually, 1 second. Okay, so you can actually change the type of the file, you can unload the backdoor, and the all parking for protection point, if you're changing, you must understand that the party field is changing, you must understand that you need to change the architecture. I try to share with you as much as I can what to do in the cloud. My apologies on the screen things. If you want to see the demo, I have it in the booth. I can stay here and show you without the screen, everything will work smoothly. Okay, so if you want to see it, I will be very happy to share with you. Thank you very much.